Hey, what's up, Zach? This is a quick demo video for you for your custom hilt that I just got done this afternoon. A lot of things going on this guy. So the general weathering idea behind this was that it was to be something kind of like a relic that had been dragged around and passed around maybe for generations. It had seen its fair share of battle, and it was just an old functioning saber without heavy weathering, because we didn't want to make it look, extremely beat up. So there was a fine line there that I was trying to achieve, and I hope that I did that for you. So I did etch the entire thing. You do have your gray Jedi symbol right here. Now you have your 832 set screw right here for your blade retention, and then this piece right here, if you'll look carefully at it, that is where I tried to drill and tap a blade retention screw, and I broke my tap. After kicking my own ass for about 30 minutes, I went through and I cleaned that up the best I could, but I got it nice and flat here. I got it out of the blade chamber here. I did weather it quite a bit with aluminum black to try to mask it up and make it match my, my weathering that I did when I etched. So that is what's going on there. I know you know about that already. I messaged you, but since I'm doing this video, I'm just going to be up front and point that out to you, that I do strive for excellence, but I do make mistakes. So that was an unfortunate one, but I feel like I recovered it the best as I could, and it doesn't affect your blade at all. It's going to be kind of hard to show you that in there. Maybe you can see it. You can see this one right here is where I broke it, right? So in there. But when you get it and you feel it with your finger, that is absolutely smooth, because I was in there with a Dremel and a cutting wheel, just going to town on that thing nice and easy for a long time, making sure it was nice and smooth. So, and then I went back with a like a sanding flap wheel, put it in there, and went up and down. Everything's so nice there. So there's what's going on there. Your shroud work. So if you look at that, this etch is from the ancient Jedi text, the particular page that talks about the use of the Kyber crystal. I thought that how it had some significance in this saber, because I thought it was an important piece for a Jedi to know while building his saber. So in case, a lot of information was lost, this particular page would be hypercritical to know and carry with you to make sabers. So that was the idea behind putting that on the shroud there. And then I did put your quote along the side that you wanted right here, all in Arabish. You can see the entire quote on my page. I don't want to misquote that, but well, no, I remember it. Something like, "I've died many times, or so I've been told. It is your death that concerns me." So that is all in Arabish right there. And then the 7 main words I pulled out from the gray Jedi code, and I put it right here along the ribs. So it worked out pretty nicely, because there were 7 main words that popped out. And then when I was looking at this initially, when it came in, you had 7 ribs here. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do there. You do have your brass tactile, your dual tactile switches right here. So your upper switch is going to be your activation, and then your lower switch is going to be your auxiliary. Now the reason I got this shroud so far down is originally when you brought this to me, an idea that you had is you wanted this shroud to come all the way down and cover this piece right here. But this section right here was the only spot where I could put some switches and still have it look good, right? So I brought the shroud down as far as I could without interfering with your activation switch. And I thought I made a good compromise there. And then I got to use some Celtic knots going in through here, just some ornate things. And then everything here has been weathered. So, weathered with aluminum black on most places, some 00 steel wool, a lot of different things I used to try to get the image that you wanted. Sorry, I'm just sitting here thinking I'm making this video and I forgot to grab a battery. So hang on just a second. battery. So we're gonna open this guy up. So if you have read the description on my page, I said I gave you kind of a hybrid chassis. Oh yeah, sorry, I gave you a black or a brown leather wrap here as well. Didn't want to do black. I thought brown went well with the weathering, and then like the more you use it, your hand oils rub off on it, the darker it will become in some places. I think it's just it will start to look more weathered naturally on the brown than I thought a black would. So that was my reasoning behind that. But you can see the wrap. Here's about where I started it, right? So nice and clean all the way around, and that's about where that is where I ended it. So nice and clean ending there as well. So we'll open this guy up. It's going to open from here. Actually, before we do that, let's talk about your shroud. Sorry. When you sent me the shroud, you had asked to have me figure out a way to attach it to the Sabre. It was my initial thought that I was going to go in with 2 screws and attach this guy. But after I etched this, I didn't want to take away from the edge or away from the Sabre by having 2 screws in here. So I opted to very rough sand the underside of this brass shroud. And then even though I knew you wouldn't be able to see the underside of this emitter because it would be covered with the shroud, I etched all the way around it just to give me a rough surface so that I could JB weld this entire thing on. And I've been letting it sit all day and cure. I'm gonna let it sit overnight and cure as well. But I like that idea a lot better because now you can't see even how it's attached. And this stuff is like so solid after it cures. I mean, it's not going anywhere on you. So didn't want to take away from the aesthetics of the Sabre, so that's what I chose to do there. So now let's open this up. So if you saw the description on my page, I said I kind of gave you like a hybrid sliding chassis. So here's what I did. Here's your chassis right here. I just put Solo Sabres on all the ones that I make. You got a 28mm bass speaker here in the back, right? And then you have a removable battery system. So the spring is always going to be your negative side. If you don't want to get access to the board, you never have to move it from this position. If you do need to get access to the board, you can slide her out, just like that. And it will come all the way out until you see the board. I'm not going to take it out right now. I'm just going to line it up with the switches. It's not going to rattle around on you. It's not going to pull out when you don't want it to. I had to leave it here because of the spacing in the handle, right? So when this point starts, this pommel cap starts over here, there's a diameter change and it wouldn't fit the 28mm bass speaker, but I wanted to have a 28mm in here. So this is kind of a static chassis unless you need it to move type of thing. So that was the reasoning behind what I did there. So let's throw a battery in it. Oh, I'm not sure if we talked about stock NeoPixels or not, but I went ahead and put those in there for you. I didn't find it in my notes when if we talked about those, but I thought that this needed it. So you have LEDs inside of your emitter. So we're going to screw this on. Normally the threshold for a Profi I set around 1.9. I started at 1.9 with this guy, and then I worked my way up to, I think, about a 3.5 because it was setting off false clashes. So you got a 3.5 threshold on this. Motion control. Smooth swing. Auxiliary. Twist off. Now the twist off can be a little finicky because that speaker's so loud. There we go. So the speaker's loud. On some of these, the twist off is very easy. On some of them, you're gonna have to do it a few times until you get the hang of it. So that's where we're at there. I did turn the speaker down. I had it at 1900 or 1500. I turned it down to 1000, and it still has amazing sound resonance. But with the amazing sound resonance comes, you know, vibration a little bit. So there's your blade there. We'll try to twist it off again. And we'll go through the same rigmarole we did last time. If I take this pommel off on this particular one, get rid of all the sound resonance that's vibrating that chassis. Now, on your auxiliary switch, that changes your sound font when the hilt is off. And we're going to throw this pommel back on. This time we'll use the activation switch on top to turn it on. Flash on flash. Tap the auxiliary. And then you can hold the button to turn it off. So we turn it on, and then hold the button to turn it off. Change sound fonts. Now try to match the colors with what you had going on here. You got to get that exactly right. So as soon as you hear it start to retract, let go of the button. This should be a red unstable. There you go. There's a trick to it. Like, it's got to be exact, right? And now we're getting into rainbow blade here. And you got that blade right there. That's the one that's just gonna give you a seizure.
King C. Smooth Jet. The Force is with you, young Skywalker. But you are not a Jedi yet.
So, you might want to play around with it a bit. I will also send you your config file in case you want to make any adjustments, but that is your saber. So it's a bit loud, but I thought you'd like it loud, so I left it alone. It actually can get louder. You just when you have the speaker louder, you have more of a chance to set off the motion controls. So I tried to find a happy medium there. This is my test blade that I use for all of my demo videos, and I've sanded this quite a bit to test different variety of hilts, and it's fitting in there nice and snug. I didn't have to use the blade retention. So you may not have to use the blade retention depending on what you're doing, but just know that that grub screw is there in case you ever need it. So, but I hope that turned out the way you like it. And I will get this sent right over to you. Thanks.